True masculine strength goes far beyond muscle mass or the depth of a commanding voice. The most enduring form of power comes from a man's spirit, his character, will, and unwavering stability in the face of life's storms. Certain zodiac signs are born with more than just endurance. They carry an inborn command over their will, their word, and the energy they project into the world. These are the men who do not crumble under pressure, who face pain without fear, and who quietly but naturally take the lead when others falter. This is not an arbitrary list. It's a revelation of the 5 signs that embody the ancient masculine traits of resilience, responsibility, and the ability to stand as an unshakable pillar when everything else seems to collapse. As we move through each sign, think about the men in your own life and share your date of birth and zodiac sign in the comments. It's time to discover what true male energy looks like. The first sign on this list is Scorpio. A Scorpio man's strength doesn't need to be broadcast or proved. It's a silent force that waits until the moment it's needed. It is deep, deliberate, and almost architectural in its structure. In times of crisis, when chaos reigns and others lose their grip, Scorpio steps into the eye of the storm and takes responsibility. He doesn't waste energy on indecision, because he understands from the start that every path he chooses must be followed to its end. Even if that journey must be taken alone, he will finish it without hesitation. His resilience comes from knowing exactly who he is. No amount of persuasion or pressure can bend him away from his truth. When challenged, Scorpio doesn't back away, he sharpens his focus. The harder the hit, the faster his mind calculates, trimming away weaknesses and reorganizing strategy in seconds. This is the man who can bring order to chaos, not through force alone, but through precision. He keeps his emotions under lock until his goal is met, needing neither approval nor sympathy. For him, success is not about applause, it's about achievement. And if he must act ruthlessly to protect his path, he will, not out of cruelty, but out of necessity. His endurance, both physical and mental, allows him to hold steady in long-term struggles where others would break.
This quiet yet unbreakable nature makes Scorpio a figure of both trust and danger. To go against him is to walk against the wind, possible, but exhausting and costly. He rarely takes revenge for ego's sake, but his responses, when required, are cold, precise, and final. Pain doesn't weaken him, he learns from it. Fear does not stop him. He stares it down and moves forward anyway. His power is not reactive. It is a way of life, a constant state of mastery over himself, his surroundings, and his destiny. If you're enjoying discovering which signs hold the deepest inner power, remember to subscribe so you won't miss what comes next. Now, we move to Capricorn, a sign whose strength is built like a fortress. Capricorn men operate according to a strict internal order. They don't waste themselves on panic, approval-seeking, or trivial pursuits. Once they set a goal, they will work tirelessly, day after day, without distraction, until it is achieved. Their discipline is their strongest weapon, a steady, unbreakable kind of power that outlasts any burst of passion or inspiration. For Capricorn, setbacks are simply part of the process. There is no self-pity, no finger-pointing. Losses are calculated, lessons are absorbed, and the climb continues. Where others might see failure, Capricorn sees data. Every mistake is filed away, every challenge met with calm calculation. He does not require recognition. In fact, he often prefers to work unnoticed. His autonomy means he cannot be manipulated by threats, emotions, or flattery. His decisions are grounded in reality, and he wastes no time on what doesn't serve the goal. When necessary, he cuts ties with anything unstable or unproductive. If an old plan fails, he doesn't dwell, he builds a new one. This is why Capricorn men are nearly impossible to break. They have the stamina to work for months, even years without visible results, holding their focus like a steel thread that never snaps.
Capricorn's strength is in his ability to filter life, separating the vital from the useless, and to act only when it counts. He is not the loud hero, but the architect of his own success, brick by brick, away from the spotlight. And when others finally notice the empire he has built, they realize he has been leading the way all along. Third on the list is Sagittarius, a sign whose power isn't about force or dominance, but about an inner velocity that activates when life demands movement. Sagittarius men blend sharp intellect with an unshakable will to grow. They are not afraid to let go of what is comfortable if they sense something greater waiting beyond the horizon. This freedom-loving mindset means they approach challenges with both courage and calculation. When chaos strikes, Sagittarius doesn't stumble, he speeds up. His clarity in moments of uncertainty is remarkable, allowing him to sort through confusion and pick out the exact steps that will lead to safety or success. This is not luck or blind instinct. It's the product of constant learning, self-awareness, and lived experience. Every action is deliberate, even when it appears impulsive to an outsider. Sagittarius men do not crave approval, nor do they shape themselves to fit the expectations of others. They can walk away from applause if it means staying true to their own principles. Their strength is in silent certainty. When they've made up their mind, debate is pointless. Though they may not seem imposing physically, their inner resolve is built of steel. They don't cling to comfort, and they can leave everything behind if it means pursuing a dream worth chasing. They are nearly impossible to buy, break, or sway. Control begins within themselves, not in bending the outside world to their will. Their nature demands open space, to move, to explore, to grow. But even when boxed in, they can adapt without losing their identity. This flexibility, combined with an unyielding core, makes them one of the most resilient signs in the zodiac.
Next is Aquarius, the fourth strongest sign on this list. Aquarius men have a quiet kind of power, cloaked beneath an air of lightness or detachment. Their greatest weapon is their independent mind, unshaken by misunderstanding, social pressure, or the weight of majority opinion. They can stand alone against the crowd without fear because their strength comes from knowing exactly where they stand in the bigger picture. An Aquarius man thinks further ahead than most people realize. While others are busy reacting to what they see, he's already preparing for what's next. This makes him unpredictable and nearly impossible to corner. His mind works outside the patterns others expect, and for every challenge, he has a backup plan already in place. He is not driven by recognition, but by the internal satisfaction of executing his vision. When he commits to an idea, he will see it through to the very end, regardless of how unusual or impossible it appears to others. His detachment isn't coldness, it's clarity. Emotions never cloud his judgment. This allows him to make tough decisions without hesitation, guided solely by logic, perspective, and long-term vision. Aquarius is not in the business of winning battles through confrontation. He wins by positioning himself ahead of the fight altogether. If this journey into the most resilient and powerful zodiac signs resonates with you, now is a good time to tap that like button. It's a small way to support the channel while helping more people discover the energy of their sign. Aquarius men thrive in solitude. While isolation might drain others, it fuels their creativity and planning. They do not seek emotional reinforcement, nor do they need a network to validate their worth. They are their own ecosystem, a self-sustaining source of strategy and willpower. Attempts to control them only result in their disappearance from your reach. You won't even know where they've gone until they choose to reappear.
Conflict is not their chosen battlefield. Rather than argue, they disengage. Rather than fight to be heard, they remove themselves entirely from the noise. This is mental discipline at its highest form, the ability to choose focus over friction. They don't waste time proving their point in a shouting match, they prove it with results. And then we arrive at Pisces, the fifth and final sign in this ranking. The strength of a Pisces man is subtle, even paradoxical. At first glance, it may seem gentle or unassuming, but beneath that softness is an endurance that's nothing short of remarkable. His power lies in adaptability, empathy, and the ability to stay whole in the midst of chaos. Pisces doesn't fight for dominance. They navigate, adjusting their course without ever losing themselves. This flexibility is not weakness, it's survival wisdom. They can endure betrayal, heartbreak, and loss without letting bitterness take root. Instead of letting pain harden them, Pisces transforms it into compassion. Their strength is not forged in the denial of pain, but in the conscious decision to forgive and keep moving. This quiet resilience allows them to step forward long after others have given up. Pisces men have a refined sense for when to engage and when to step back. They may retreat in the short term, but this is often part of a larger, long-term victory. They know how to conserve their energy for moments that matter, and they refuse to waste themselves on battles with no meaningful outcome. Pisces' inner endurance is almost spiritual in nature, a deep and quiet force that keeps them standing long after others have fallen. While some signs rely on sheer resistance or control, Pisces thrives by flowing with life's currents without losing themselves in the process. This adaptability is not a passive surrender. It is a conscious and active choice to adjust, to bend without breaking, and to transform challenges into opportunities for growth. They have a way of absorbing life's storms without allowing them to hollow out their core.
In a world where many mistake volume for strength, Pisces teaches that true power can be silent. Their resilience comes from a refined sense of timing. They know instinctively when to step back and when to move forward. Retreat, for them, is never defeat. It is simply the gathering of energy for a more decisive moment. And when they do step forward, they do so with quiet certainty, often achieving victories that no one saw coming. Pisces men also have an extraordinary emotional radar. They sense shifts in energy, intentions that haven't yet been spoken, and subtle undercurrents that others overlook. This heightened perception allows them to navigate complex situations with grace, avoiding unnecessary conflict while positioning themselves exactly where they need to be for long-term success. They can remain calm even when surrounded by instability, anchored by an unshakable internal compass that points toward what is right for them. Their empathy, though often seen as a vulnerability, is in fact one of their greatest weapons. It enables them to connect deeply with others, inspire loyalty, and create alliances that last. Yet they also know how to protect this gift by setting firm boundaries when someone's presence threatens their peace. They are not afraid to disappear from toxic environments, knowing they can return when conditions are fertile for growth again. What truly makes Pisces powerful is that they are not dependent on the external world to validate them. They don't need to dominate to feel strong, and they don't need recognition to know their worth. Their victories are often quiet, but they endure, like rivers that carve valleys over centuries.
shaping the landscape without fanfare. When the moment of truth arrives, a Pisces man can become the rock others cling to. He may not raise his voice or command with force, but his presence brings calm, clarity, and a sense of direction. His strength lies in being both a sanctuary and a strategist, able to heal, guide, and protect without losing sight of his own path.
In this ranking of the strongest men by zodiac sign, each brings a different expression of masculine power. Scorpio's strategic resilience, Capricorn's disciplined persistence, Sagittarius's fearless adaptability, Aquarius's visionary independence, and Pisces's balanced endurance. Together, they remind us that strength is not one uniform quality, but a spectrum of traits that all share one thing: the refusal to be broken by life. If you see yourself or someone you know in these descriptions, share your zodiac sign in the comments. It's always powerful to see how these energies show up in real life. And if you haven't already, subscribe to Signs and Secrets so you never miss the deeper truths the stars have to reveal. Before you leave, remember to like this video. Your support helps keep this wisdom flowing to everyone who needs it.